Trump's administration is almost entirely towing the Trump line on the Epstein files. But that line is so confusing and convoluted that it's virtually impossible not to slip up.
The president said today you would release credible files related to Mr. Epstein. Are you prepared to do that, and when would you do that?
Our memo speaks for itself, and we'll get back to you on anything else. I haven't seen all of his statements today. Thank you.
How would you respond to the MAGA base that has expressed a lot of frustration about this?
We're going to fight to keep America safe again, and we're fighting together as a team. That's what's so important right now. You know, we've got a war on drugs. We've got a war on human trafficking. We've got cartels in this country, and we are going to do. We've got foreign adversaries around this world as well, and we're all going to work together as a team to fight to keep America safe again. And I can tell you, that's what we're all committed to. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. And
get it. It's just going to be, and I keep on saying this, Joy, all Donald Trump has to do is release the Epstein files.
That's right.
This whole that Pam Bondi's standing the way. I mean, he's the one who's telling her not to release the entirety of the release.
None of these people are independent actors. Pam Bondi is not a real attorney general. Let me say that again. Y'all gonna get mad. You're gonna scream at like y'all screamed about Wajahat Ali and me.
Oh my God, that was ridiculous.
Listen, but y'all scream again. Pam Bondi is not a real attorney general. She just works for Donald Trump. She takes his orders. She obeys Trump. All these U.S. attorneys, you know, what's her name from Fox? I hope she's sober. She's the U.S. attorney from D.C. Pirro.
Yeah.
She's not a real U.S. attorney. She works for Trump. They've gutted the DOJ. The DOJ doesn't exist. The FBI doesn't exist. None of these things. It's gone. It all is just Trump's employees.
Watch Pam Bondi have to go from, and it's the same that happened with Bongino and Patel, to go from conspiracy theorist to reasoned expert is just chef's kiss. Oh, there's a minute missing from the prison videos. They had security camera footage from the prison, but there's a minute missing from 11:59 to midnight. And that minute, man, you can fit, how many conspiracies can you fit on the head of a minute? Like, you can fit them all. And watching Pam Bondi have to go, I get it. Minute is missing, but it turns out there's a very simple explanation, and it's somewhat innocuous. So it's not the sinister motives that everybody thought it was. So I'm sure that will take all the air out of this conspiracy, because I've just explained to you, there's a very reasonable explanation for why that doesn't exist. Watching them dance on the head of this pin is going to be, and I will guarantee you, that ultimately you're already starting to see it. It's fire Pam Bondi. It's not fire the guy who's in all the pictures with Epstein and who said, I don't know if I'm going to release the files because there's a lot of phony stuff in there. And Trump said there was phony stuff in there. And we all know the definition of phony when it comes to Donald Trump. Anything that reflects poorly on Donald Trump is phony or fake. So by the very fact that he used that word specifically tells you something.
Congressman, what's your reaction there to what the White House press secretary said, basically echoing what we've heard from Vice President J.D. Vance?
Well, look, we say where there's smoke, there's fire. And when it comes to Trump and Epstein, there's more smoke than at a Texas barbecue. I mean, Trump campaigned on releasing the Epstein files. Then his attorney general seemingly reminded him that he's probably all up in these files. And so now Trump and his spokespeople are trying to cover it up. But we are going to make sure that there's transparency in this case. I just recently, along with other Republican and Democratic members, met with nearly a dozen of the survivors in this case. And these crimes are horrific. And we need to make sure that everyone is held accountable, because no president, no head of a bank or a financial institution, no powerful person should be able to get away with these kinds of crimes held unaccountable.
I want to follow up on something you said. You said the Epstein documents are a hoax that Democrats are perpetrating against the president. You said he didn't sign that check, that he didn't sign the birthday card that he allegedly signed. So what is the theory, since these documents came from the Epstein estate? Who is I guess in your view, faking these documents?
I did not say the documents are a hoax. I said the entire narrative surrounding Jeffrey Epstein right now that is absorbing many of the liberal cable channels on television is a hoax that is being perpetuated by opportunistic Democrats like Ro Khanna and the others whom you saw on that press conference outside of Capitol Hill, who are trying to push this hoax against the President of the United States.
What exactly is the hoax? I'm just trying to understand what's fake. What's fake is not the documents.
The hoax is the Democrats pretending to care about victims of crime when they do not care about victims of crime, when they have done nothing to solve crimes, when they have done nothing to lock up child pedophiles and child rapists across the country, and when they are now using victims as political props to try and, again, smear the President of the United States and drag on this bad story about him. It is a distraction. The Democrats view this story as nothing more than an attempt to distract from the accomplishments and the achievements of this administration. And that is what we mean when we call it a hoax.
If he didn't sign these, if you said he didn't sign the birthday card, he didn't do this, he also didn't do the check, those were in documents from the estate. So what is the working theory as to why he's in them?
The President has one of the most famous signatures in the world, and he has for many, many years. You know that, Maggie, you've covered him for a long time, long before he assumed this office when he was a businessman in New York. The President did not write that letter. He did not sign those documents. He maintains that position, and that position will be argued in court by his lawyers. The President is very confident he is going to win this case.
The White House support a professional handwriting expert review of the document released yesterday to prove that it's not the President's signature?
Sure, we would support that. And in fact, I have already seen many forensic analysts of signatures coming out. I believe it was the Daily Signal that published a piece with 3 separate signature analysts who said that this absolutely was not the President's authentic signature. And we have maintained that position all along. The President did not write this letter. He did not sign this letter. And that's why the President's external legal team is aggressively pursuing litigation against the Wall Street Journal, and they will continue to.
You addressed the crime of Irina Zurika, and the President has done a lot to deliver justice for victims of crimes like that horrific stabbing. And the Epstein files are back in the news because a lot of Americans feel that that Jeffrey Epstein's victims never got justice. Does the President care about these victims? Do you think he can does he want to deliver more justice for them, and is he willing to meet with them?
The President cares about victims of all crimes, and that's why Republicans in the Trump Department of Justice have done more in terms of transparency when it comes to the Epstein case than any prior administration. And why are the Democrats all of a sudden caring about this? It's because they are desperately trying to concoct a hoax to smear the President of the United States. We have seen this time and time again. Ro Khanna and all of these other Democrats, they could have cared about those victims 4 years ago when Joe Biden was in office. They could have pushed for transparency then. Unfortunately, the Democrats are using victims as political pawns to try to smear and to push a hoax against the President of the United States. And I will get you numbers on the amount of child predators that this administration and this FBI and this Department of Justice have locked up under President Trump's leadership. We have done more than any president to protect victims of crime, especially disgusting, heinous sexual crimes. And that includes the deportation of illegal aliens who are perpetrating these crimes against innocent victims in our country right now today. And that remains a top priority for this administration.
Again, I do want to say we have no reason to think that he was in any way involved with that check itself. Also, no reason to think he's conducted any wrongdoing involving Jeffrey Epstein. You noted, you're a prosecutor, you're a lawyer here. There's this defamation.
I would say we have lots of reasons to think he was involved in wrongdoing. I mean, at this point, there's a lot of smoke. There may be some fire, but I would just push back and say I think there's a lot of reason to think Donald Trump was involved.
Involved with what? I'm sorry, what exactly, what proof do you have that he was involved with wrongdoing in regards to Jeffrey Epstein? And if that's the case, why have there been no prosecutions over 20 years here? Because there haven't really been any allegations that he was involved with wrongdoing.
There are a lot of connections where Donald Trump was named, right? We had a 14-year-old claiming that she was raped by him, then withdrew that claim after she was apparently threatened. His name appears a lot, and again, we at this point, our job is to find justice for these survivors, and that means that we need to continue digging, knowing that there is a cover-up taking place right now. And I didn't say that we have proof. At this point, we have a lot of smoke. But Donald Trump's name is clearly mentioned multiple times. We've seen him lie over and over about things that we now know to be true. So again, I think that we, as the Oversight Committee, we owe an obligation to the girls, the American people out there, to keep digging and find out the truth, whoever's involved.
Bigger story that some in the media, not you guys, are missing. And the bigger story is Pam Bondi is AG now. Pam Bondi was AG of Florida from 2011 to 2019 when Jeffrey Epstein continued with his child sex ring after he was released from prison. She made going after child sex pedophiles, she said that top priority. Never investigated Jeffrey Epstein in all those years while he was doing this. And then she's rewarded by being Attorney General of the United States under Donald Trump. There's a straight line from her protecting Jeffrey Epstein there, I think, and where she is now. So, of course, her DOJ is going to erase Republican names from any documents going. I think it's a very revealing and accurate comment. And again, I think Bondi deserves to be more looked into and criticized. Why didn't she investigate Jeffrey Epstein? It's happening in her state. Her own DOJ in 2018, when they indict Epstein, said after he was released from prison, he continued. He did it in Florida, right there, her state. What was she doing?
As time goes by and more pieces of incriminating information about Trump's ties to Epstein trickle out, it's becoming clear that this story isn't just going away. The more Trump begs us all to just stop talking about it, the more guilty he looks. And it hasn't taken long for certain politicians to realize that if they want any kind of post-Trump career, they at least have to appear interested in releasing the files. Republican Representative Thomas Massie and Democratic Representative Ro Khanna have co-sponsored a bill to actually make the Epstein files public. So, will it actually happen? Let's do a little bit of math. As of Tuesday the 9th, the measure has the support of 4 Republicans and 212 Democrats. That's 216 signatures, just 2 shy of the 218 that are currently needed. But we have these special elections, and so if Democratic congressional candidates James Walkinshaw of Virginia and Adelita Grijalva of Arizona both win their special elections this month and agree to sign on, the effort could finally move forward. And if that happens, expect Attorney General Pam Bondi to twist herself into a pretzel trying to cover this grenade.